Hello. In today's chair practice, we're going to use the chair as a prop. In chair yoga, you can use the chair for a variety of reasons, but two of the major ones are stability, to help us stay stable while we're doing our practice. And the other one is for alignment. And so today, we're going to practice standing poses done in the chair. And we're going to focus on our alignment. So join me for chair yoga. Welcome. We'll start with our breath, but we want to first feel our feet against the floor, and we want to sit tall. Now in chair yoga, we sit in a chair, but we don't lean back into the chair. We sit with intention, as we would if we were standing. We want to support our body here, and you'll hear me say this cueing over and over in my videos. Shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. And once we have that alignment, we can rest our hands for a moment and just close our eyes and focus on our breath. But today, I want you to think about, as you breathe, that you're also breathing energy into your spine. So you're breathing from the tailbone, up through the core of the body, to the base of the head. And then as you exhale and that breath goes out of your body, the energy in your spine keeps the spine lifted and strong. And we focus on letting the breath go and keeping the alignment. And so we don't have to think about balance here, or whether the cat's around or the dog, but just that we are breathing. And then we gently open our eyes. And just keeping that alignment in your spine now, we'll take the hands alongside of the chair, draw the shoulders down, and with a little bit of squeeze in the back, we draw the belly in, and we're now in mountain in the chair. And it should feel just slightly different from just sitting in the chair. It should feel taller, maybe lighter, and a little more engagement in the back. Hands, fingers towards the floor, alongside of our body. And even here, we might think about that little tuck of the chin. And then on your next inhale, we'll take those arms, we'll take them out away from the body and up overhead as much as you can. And then when you've reached your maximum, you're going to turn the palms out, wiggle your fingers, and rain those fingers down. And even here, we breathe up the spine. Keep that intention, hold the belly in slightly, and then let the fingers down. Release the arms at your side, but keep that lift in the torso. One more time. See if you can feel that. Then rest your hands for a moment. Let's warm up the legs. So we'll circle one ankle and circle it in the other direction. Maybe point and flex a couple times. And then tap it down and lift. Coming now, bringing the energy into the hips. Let's tap it out to the side and bring it back in. Out and back in. One more time like that. And bring it back in. So then we'll sit tall and we'll do it on the other side. Waking up our ankle here, circling it in the other direction, and point and flex a couple times. Now today I'm not wearing shoes, but in chair yoga, you can wear shoes, and you might not have as much motion in the toes, but that's okay. Tap and raise. We adjust out to the side, and you adjust for how your body feels today. You just want to Be in touch with your body. Be aware of how it feels. Take the hands down by your side. Once again, reach up, press palm to palm, and then with the feet firmly into the floor, lean over to one side and reach out of the body here and take a couple breaths in this nice side stretch here. And then come on back to center. Now, of course, if we're doing standing poses in the chair today, you could also do them standing. And this would be our crescent stretch, standing, arms up over our ears, leaning now to the other side. And then come back to center and once again, rain those fingers down. So let's warm up our shoulders. We'll roll them forward. And as you do this, see if you can sense the muscles on your back working here. And let's go in the other direction. Squeezing those muscles closer to the spine as we go back. One more. Let's leave them on our back. Notice how that raises your chest in the front. And tuck your chin. Let's work on the neck a little bit. So we'll turn to one side, come back to center, and go to the other side. And we can connect our breath to this. So we inhale as the face is forward. Exhale as you turn. Inhale back to center. One more time, each side, slowing it down a little. And then release back to center. So now we're going to take side angle. We're going to take one foot out to the side, place our forearm there. The other leg can turn out a little bit or can stay forward. We're going to take side angle here. So once again, breathing up, making that spine long, and then just glancing or leaning to that one side. Notice I've raised my arm so you can see I'm not leaning into the leg. I'm allowing the body to lift away from the hips. And we just anchor here. You can anchor with a hand, with your arm, or you can even place your arm on the inside of that thigh. And then we'll take this other arm straight up and over your ear. Now, if this bothers your shoulder, you can always come across the chest. It's not exactly the same stretch, but a good stretch nevertheless. One more breath here. And then we'll come back to center and we'll step that right foot in. Let's step the left out to the side. Same thing, sitting tall, maybe the other leg turns out a little bit. And then without placing too much weight on this left arm, we take that right arm up and start to lean over that thigh that's on the side of the chair. Maybe placing the arm on the inside of the thigh here today. Just play with where the arm feels the best for you. And the other advantage of doing chair yoga, and today's practice, especially doing the standing poses in the chair, is that we can hold them without fear of losing our balance or having the dog come along and brush our legs or the kitty sit on our toes. And then we come back up here and then we'll step this foot back and in. Let's just bring our heels off the floor. Keep the balls of the feet on the floor. Stretch through the bottom of your feet and then lower down and lift your toes. Maybe if you don't have shoes on, you could wiggle your toes here and then press the balls down and lift those heels once again. Nice. And then placing the feet flat on the floor, we're going to take an easy twist. So we're going to bring one arm across the body and resting it on the outside of the opposite leg. Sitting tall, take the other arm. You can hold on to the chair or you can just reach back and turn your torso right here, right around your ribs. And then you can keep your head neutral or you could turn your eyes even to look at that thumb that's behind you. Keep a little bit of squeeze in the shoulders. And we're going to hold this so you can feel how being supported in the chair allows us to hold the pose a little longer. And in that time that we're holding the pose, we think about What can I change to make it better? Can I turn my eyes a little more? Can I lift my ribs a little more? Can I press in my feet? Feeling the muscles of the torso twisting here. And then on an exhale, we start slowly. The eyes come back and the head and then the shoulder and arm, and we release everything forward. So let's do that on the other side. So my feet are slightly apart. I'm going to take my arm across the body, going in the other direction now. Sitting tall, I'm going to start turning with my ribs, and I'm going to send that free arm back behind me. And again, you can keep the head in neutral, or you can start to turn the ribs, turn the head, and maybe even turn the eyes and look at that thumb that's behind you. And then change one thing. Maybe it's the twist gets deeper. Maybe you lift a little taller. Maybe you press the feet a little more. And you hold the pose. And then when we want to release, we go very slowly. Eyes, head, free arm coming back around and down. And we feel that twist right here in our ribs. Very nice, very nice. So let's heel toe out, working the ankles again. Heels out, toes out, heels out, toes out. Coming into this horse pose in the chair, sometimes called goddess pose. And since we are working on our goddess pose, stretching the inner thighs, let's bring our arms up, squeeze our back, and hands are over your elbows here. We can squeeze the elbows forward and open them. Feel this in your chest. One more like that. And then we'll come to that goddess pose and we'll see what can we tweak now. Can I squeeze my shoulders back a little bit more? Can I press my feet into the earth? And if you are pressing your feet down, you're pressing into the whole foot as if you're trying to straighten out a wrinkle in your mat. Chin stays slightly tucked here. And we hold. On your next exhale, slowly release the arms in and down, release the back, and then heel toe the feet back to center. Coming to mountain in the chair, the back is tall, and once again we breathe up the spine. And just pausing here in our mountain pose, in our mountain pose, we align the spine. We just let the body settle in. Let the muscles on the back side of the body equalize once again, and the hips be equal in the chair from right to left, and both feet pressing into the earth. And then release that. Now next we're going to come into chair pose, which might seem like a very easy pose here in the chair because we're in the chair, right? But it's still worth looking at while we are supported in the chair. What can we do in our chair pose? Well, one thing we want to think about is when we reach our arms forward, we want to plug the shoulders back. That means you're going to use your back muscles. And at the same time I did that, I felt my abs kick in. So those are things that maybe you can see or feel in your own body. Now the hands can be parallel to the floor, or they can be up alongside of your ears. But no matter where you've placed your hands and arms, we want to drop the shoulders down our back, and we want to feel that lift through the front side of the body. And your gaze can be straight ahead, and your feet anchored into the earth. Now, even here as we hold our chair pose, what can you tweak? What can you do to make this pose work for you? Maybe it's draw the shoulders down a little bit. Maybe you take your gaze upward, lifting the ribs even higher. Maybe it's pulling the abs in towards center a little bit more. All kinds of things that we can think about and be aware of as we hold our pose. And then on an exhale, we release the arms. We release all the work we just did in our back, and we come to that mountain pose again, realigning everything in our bodies. Next up is going to be a lunge pose. Now in the chair, I'm going to turn to one side, placing one foot on the side of the chair and the other foot back behind me. Now, how far back depends, of course, on your flexibility and your hip, but be mindful of that. But at the same time, we want a little work here. So we want to feel a stretch, not pain, just a stretch. So inch that back until you feel that your quad is stretching right here, even if it's just a little bit. Now I'm going to adjust myself here to place that foot down in front of me so that it's well anchored. And then this allows me to lift, as I was doing in our mountain pose, lift the ribs and wrap them forward a little bit. And then that back leg can start to straighten a little bit maybe, lifting the thigh back and up, deepening the stretch here. We can keep the hands down. This helps us keep our alignment. Or we can bring those arms up overhead once again. And we hold. And even here in this hold, we want to observe where we're feeling the work in our body today. So do you feel like your leg is doing some work? Maybe the front leg is pressing down a little harder. Maybe the abs are coming in and up a little bit more. Dropping the shoulders down your back. Maybe we're pressing into the ball of the foot behind us a little bit more. Maybe lifting that leg, the back leg, back and up. Just little things that we do when we hold a pose. And here, again, we don't have to worry about stability, whether we're wobbling or anything. So we can get the alignment. We can work on the alignment. And then on an exhale, we float the hands down. Now, that's lunge pose. But another pose that we often do is warrior. And so on warrior, I drop my back toes and turn them out. And then come back into the pose. Here's warrior one. I'm not going to hold it too long, but you can join me here in warrior one for a moment. And then we can float the hands down in front of us and draw back the hand that's on the outside. This is my left hand here. We just draw it back. And once I've gone as far as my body will allow me to twist, I open it up into warrior two. Palms go down and we look out over the front hand and we feel strong here. Now in chair pose, if you're in a warrior one or two pose and you want to strengthen your legs and that's your focus, you can rise up out of the chair a little bit. You don't have the support of the chair anymore. Everything's in the legs. But by resting in the chair, we can work on that alignment of the legs. Front knee over ankle allows me to press down. Back foot pressing in and away allows me to rise up. And then we release everything down into the chair slowly, mindfully. Bring the back leg in first and then pivot to the front once again, mountain pose. And just pause until you feel that your body has balanced out right to left. Your breathing's come back to that nice rhythm that you had at the beginning of class. And whatever we do on one side, we do on the other. So now we turn in the other direction and we find that first, that lunge pose. So we're going to be on the ball of the back foot. And the foot, the back leg can bend, but we want to make sure we pull it back just a little so that it's at an angle to the front side of the body here. So you want a stretch right in the front of that back leg. Now the front knee should be right over the ankle and the foot firmly on the floor. And we sit tall, and here's that cue again, right? Shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. And once we do that, once we say that to ourselves, we start to feel the belly tighten a little bit. We feel the ribs wrap in towards midline. We feel our shoulders go down our back. Now I'm going to stretch it out even more by taking my back foot back and try to straighten that leg as much as I can in this position, and maybe bring the arms up. Arms are optional. For today, let's work on the alignment of the lower body and the torso here. And then just feel, just kind of scan your body here and see what's working for you. What can you change? What can you engage to make the pose more beneficial? And on your next exhale, let's release that down. Let's come into that warrior one. So we take the back foot. I'm going to back my chair up so my foot can be on the mat. And you can see it maybe a little better. It does come forward for me on this side a little bit. There we go. And then keeping our body facing the side of the chair, straightening that leg now, coming into our warrior one. And even here, we still can scan the body, tweak something, pressing the front foot in. For me, made that easier for the back leg to straighten. Maybe pull the ribs in a little bit and drop those shoulders down and maybe take our gaze upward. And you don't have to do all those things. You just have to think about maybe one or two of them as you hold your pose. And on an exhale, we release the hands and the back foot. And then we're going to come into that pose again, but this time we're going to turn our bodies to face the front of the chair. Extend our arms out and come into our warrior two. And just pause here for a moment and shoulders over hips. Make sure our alignment is good. Because after all, that's what we're focusing in on today, is using the chair to help us in our alignment. And now if you want to work on strengthening the lower body, you could do this pose standing, or you could just push yourself out of the chair once you've got the alignment to bring the body into this pose. And then we look out over the front hand and we hold, either hovered over the chair or just seated in the chair and working the muscles that hold us in this pose. And come to your breath and make sure that you can breathe evenly here without holding. And then exhale and release the arms. Release that back leg first and turn once again to the front. How are you doing? Do you find that using the chair in these standing poses, it allows us to focus, right, on the alignment? So let's continue with another one of my favorite poses. Now, sometimes this pose is done kneeling on the mat, but in chair yoga, we don't kneel or sit on the mat. So we're going to use the chair in gate pose. So in gate pose, I come to one side of my chair. My thigh that's in the chair is about the middle of the chair. The other leg's extended as much as I can. Extend it nice and straight. Try to keep the toes forward. And then we can stay here and just lean the body towards that extended leg and feel the energy of that leg coming up the leg as it tightens. The leg tightens. We want to hug the muscles to the bone. And we just lean over it a little bit. Now you can go further with this gate pose by sliding that same side arm down, and you can be on the thigh or below the knee. We don't want to be pressing on the joint. So I can get just below my knee there, and then take the other arm up and lean it over our ear. Now this is quite a big stretch, so be mindful again if when you brought that arm up overhead, it seemed a strain for you, you can bring it across your body. Not exactly the same stretch, but a stretch nevertheless for our upper back. I kind of like this one right here. Wherever you're at, feel supported by the chair, that front foot firmly into the earth, and breathe. And then we'll release it slowly. And holding onto the chair as you slide that foot back in, sitting in the middle of the chair, coming to that mountain pose one more time. Aligning all our muscles, just breathing, maybe 3, 4, 5 breaths here to allow the muscles to equal out once again. And then we'll take it to the other side. So again, the right leg is going to stay in the chair, my right foot on the earth, and I'm going to extend the other foot out. And I can see I'm off the mat. Here we go. And I'm just straight out of my hip here, toes forward if I can. And if you can, if the toes turn out a little bit, so what, right? You're supported by your chair, so you don't have the fear of falling over. But you do want to work on the alignment. So once again, shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. Then we take that same side arm and we slide it down, and here it could be on the thigh or below the knee. And the other arm can be right here supporting you on the thigh, or you could take it straight up or over or across the body. So find one of those positions for our gate pose here in the chair. And hold, and now tweak something internally, some muscle that you engage to make this pose a little more steady maybe, a little more aligned, maybe a deeper stretch. Find one thing and hold. And then release. Arms coming up. Hold on to the chair. Bring that extended leg in. Come into the chair. Feet apart a little bit. We're going to just have an easy mountain here for 3 breaths. And we'll close out our class today with just a little movement. Shifting side to side. Maybe reaching over to one side, over to the other, nice and loose. Maybe up, cross body, and down. And then maybe we lift those heels again and lift those toes, finding some movement in our legs. Good. And then let's roll the shoulders. So when you're in the chair and you're doing standing poses, the torso does more of the work. Let's roll the other way than the muscles of the leg. But that's okay, because that was our focus today, our alignment in chair yoga. Let's come to settle for Savasana now. Feet on the earth. Heart lifted slightly, shoulders down your back, and then just gently close your eyes here for a moment. And use your mind's eye to scan your body. Breathe into any part that might still be holding some tension. As you exhale, feel the feet a little more heavy on the floor. Maybe feel the hips resting in the chair. And then on another breath, breathe into the back side of the body, and then as you exhale, soften the arms, lower a little bit, the hands get heavy on your thigh. But we're still, we're just breathing. And everything that's happening now is happening on the inside. One more breath here. And then we'll bring the hands together, keeping the eyes closed. Let's rub the palms, create some energy between the palms, and then hover them over your eyes, over your face. And even here, just pause for a couple breaths and let the heat of the hands soften the eyes, soften the eyelids, maybe even soften the jaw. And then slowly open your eyes and bring the hands to your heart and bow to your body for its fabulous work today in our standing poses in the chair. Join me again for chair yoga. Namaste.